Ninja Moonshine, Middle of the Road, podcast for meeting in the middle. All right, it's Middle of the Road with Ninja and Moonshine. How's it going, Moonshine?
I am doing too good, too blessed to be depressed.
Too blessed to be. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just get this out of the way. Everybody, y'all need to go listen to the Jason E. Jones podcast. He is. It's Moonshine's other show. It's amazing. He's hitting all these kind of interviews, and you're missing out if you're not listening to this podcast. So everybody, if you're listening to this show, you definitely know to go listen to the Jason E. Jones podcast show. It is amazing.
Wow, man, that's great. Thank you so much.
Well, I gotta help you out.
And I appreciate that. I've definitely been busy talking football.
Yeah, you've been talking a lot of good football, good local football, and the football that really matters. Look, I love pro football. That's my thing. I watch pro football, but really the football where you can get into it and really care about the people, to me, is the high school football, and that is what you've been covering lately, and I've been loving it.
Yeah, I did today and yesterday, I think. Hold on, let me look here. 4 different coaches interviews I've done in the past 2 days, I guess.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Everybody needs to go listen to it. And you know what? I'm gonna curveball you here real quick before we get to the middle of the road stuff. And I've been meaning to ask you, and I should have warned you, but I'm sorry. But is Deshaun Watson a scumbag, and is anybody in Cleveland happy that he's playing there?
We'll just put it this way. It's unfortunate that your love for sports and a certain team can make you kind of look over some things, and that's what's going on with most Cleveland Browns fans.
Wow, yeah, I don't know if I could cheer for the Tennessee Titans if they brought him on. I actually saw one thing that made me discuss it. It was a fake report that the Browns had signed Colin Kaepernick.
Yes, I saw that, and it was very fake.
It was fake. It wasn't true. And you know what? That's a funny thing. Whatever. The part that just bothered me was the person who was a friend of mine. I'm not said, "Oh no, I can't watch the Browns now because they signed him." I'm like, so you're okay with the guy with 24 criminal or 66 allegations, 24 lawsuits for sexual misconduct, but the dude that took a knee, that's why you're not going to watch the Browns play. I'm like,
it's a wild world of sports, isn't it?
I'd say that one got me. All right, so we're gonna move on from that. Just a little taste of the kind of sports stuff you get. His show, amazing, guys. Y'all need to watch it. Listen to it, watch it. You can't watch it. You listen to it. Actually, I have a funny feeling y'all will be watching it soon. All right. So we wanted to talk about a couple things. I had one thing I really wanted to cover because as a diabetic, it pissed me off, and I wanted to see what you thought about it.
Okay, go ahead.
The inflation. I just said inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act that just passed through Congress was passed through a special budget law where they didn't have to have 60 votes. They could pass it with the 50 votes and the tiebreaker. Now, I understand that the Republicans didn't want this to pass, and they have various reasons that I actually agree with. I think they're wrong, but when you say, look, we're worried what this is going to do to the taxes, okay, that's a valid reason not to want to pass a bill. I'm okay with that. But all that stuff was going to pass because of the Budget Reconciliation Act, okay? There was only one thing that they could not pass with that budget deal, and that was a cap on the price of insulin. The Democrats put in the bill, they want to cap the price of insulin at $35, so no company could charge more than $35 for base insulin, what you need for a month's supply of insulin. And since they couldn't pass that under the Budget Reconciliation Act, they had to have 60 votes. And 43 Republicans voted no.
Well, we are going to be in the middle of the road on this one because talked about it. I'm sick of the GOP and the Democrats. I'm over it. I'm just over all the crap that they're supposed to be the good guys, but then they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off.
I'm infuriated. Like I'm like, hold on a second. All right, all the stuff that you couldn't do anything about, y'all voted. That's fine. But for something that would actually help the American people, look. I know you say you're mad at Democrats, but at this point, all 50 Democrats voted for and 7 Republicans. If it was a state I lived in that was one of the Republicans that voted for it, I would vote for that person. I generally don't ever vote Republican. But of course, I'm in with Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, and Rand Paul votes for aliens, and Mitch McConnell votes for Russia. So I don't really
What is wrong with the Russian? What is wrong with the Russian?
Yeah, what? I mean, I don't know which one's worse, the one who serves himself or the one that believes in aliens, but that's a whole nother thing. I just, like, don't you want your people to be able to get drugs cheaply? Like, and we're not talking about some new drug, some drug that, you know, they just spend $1 million in refund. I promise you, all the companies that sell insulin have made their money back at this point for the research. Just saying.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm on your side on this. If it's that cut and dry, they're trying to limit the amount of money that people have to pay for insulin. But this is what gets me too, though. Most of us these days eat fast food, right? Well, let's be honest here. Fast food is connected to diabetes. It has a very cozy relationship that people don't want to talk about.
Oh yeah, no. Unless you're a type 1 diabetic, you're right. I'm type 2. It's because I'm fat, and I recognize that. And I have done things to get better with that. I mean, I've lost about 100 pounds at this point. But
congratulations.
But I still need my medicine. And without my insurance, thank God I have insurance, one medication I take alone is $1,500 a month.
Jeez.
If I don't have that one pill, my sugar goes through the roof. It's like the one pill that works for me. And we tried a whole lot of them to get down to that one pill. And it $1,500 a month without insurance. It's absolutely ridiculous. Although I have found a new website that I did not know was a thing, and I'm going to forget his name. Oh, no, I'm not. Mark Cuban. The guy who owns the Dallas Mavericks and is on Shark Tank. He started a company where they sell generic drugs for cost plus 15% plus $8 shipping and handling.
Phenomenal.
I can now buy a 3-month supply of the metformin that I take for $20 without insurance.
You go, boy.
I mean, everybody needs to check out this website. It's costplusdrugs.com. They're not a sponsor, or they're not paying me to say this. They don't even know I exist. But if you're struggling with medication, I just discovered this website. I'm about to switch almost every pill I take to it because my copay is $40 with my insurance. Is actually less than what my copay is even with insurance. So, yeah. Yay. And since Congress isn't going to pass anything to help with drugs, you got to do something. Speaking of drugs and cost, they just passed a law in Florida where Medicare can no longer be used to cover gender-affirming drugs. I was wondering what your thoughts on that were.
Oh.
Cause
Say that again. I'm trying to. I think I heard what you said.
So, if you have Medicare to Medicaid, right, and you're on gender-affirming drugs, in other words, you're an adult, that you were born a man but you feel like a female, it's a disease. They call it a disease or a mental condition. They call it gender dysphoria, although they say it's not like a handicap. It's just you don't feel right in your body. So you take hormones, so you feel like what you think your body tells you in your brain that you are. And they're saying Medicare no longer going to cover that in Florida.
Ron DeSantis strikes again.
Right?
I don't know how I feel about this. I really don't. I don't agree. If they're going to call, it's a very complicated situation. It would almost go ahead.
Well, and this is separate from them participating in sports and stuff. This is just what their treatments what they take to make themselves feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you're a male transitioning to female, you're cutting off your junk. So you really believe, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
shouldn't their medication still be covered? That's how I feel. I feel like because this is separate from the sports issue because there's the hormone balance and then the extra strength, and I get where there's a struggle with that. And to me, this is also different than the doing it to kids because when you're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you might change your mind. But if you're an adult and you've reached the point where like, no, I'm willing to cut my junk off because I believe I'm a woman, then at that point you have, because they've done brainwave studies where they've put these people in the MRIs and scan their brains, and there is difference between the male and female brain. There's differences, and the men who really believe this, they say have this, they have the female characteristics in their brain because there is a slight difference. So shouldn't their medication still be covered? And this is one of those things where that's what I believe, but somebody else who believes different, I'm not that mad at. I want to understand. So what?
You finally stumped me on one. I don't know. I know how I would used to react to this, but now I'm trying to. And I feel better about life where I'm not constantly looking at it from a left wing, right wing perspective and more trying to just know who I am, but also not trying to be a complete prick about everything.
We've all had to go through that process.
Yeah. Well, don't worry though. I'm not going to be a wearing a donkey sticker anytime soon. But yeah, I don't know. I think if they label it a medical condition, people they need it. But then it falls back on people that generally are dealing with mental issues can't afford it.
Right.
So then it falls on the taxpayer. So I kind of have some issues with that. I don't know how I feel about this.
But this is what it comes down to. Like, somebody who has Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever, right? We're paying for all their stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is an issue they have, and it's a diagnosed issue, it has a medical condition, it has a name, it's gender dysphoria, something, something, something. It's a big, long medical term. You'll have to forgive me. I can't pronounce half the words. If it's a diagnosed condition, should it matter what it is? If there's a medication that makes them feel better, like if somebody's clinically depressed, we don't say they can't have their Zoloft.
True.
And so if this condition exists and it's recognized by the medical community and these medications increase the person's mental state so they feel normal so they can function, then I feel like it should be covered. It shouldn't be matter what it is. Like, some people can self-treat with stuff for some medicate or for depression and stuff, but some stuff you can't do that, So what can you do?
Well, I think though you hit on something though. I feel like, and if we're always basing all of our decisions and everything on how we feel instead of really what is the law, then I think we go down a difficult road.
And that's where this comes into it is the law. But my thing is if it's a medical condition, it's been diagnosed as a medical condition, and it's medication that helps the medical condition, then there shouldn't be a law saying you can't use whatever insurance you have for it, just because said person in charge doesn't think this thing is a medical condition. If
Yeah.
it's, just like if somebody decides they don't like diabetes, they're like, we're not going to cover your insulin anymore. That's a problem. Because it makes me feel normal. Keeps me from dying. And a lot of these people who are transitioning, who don't feel like they're right in their body, if they're not getting their medications, they do start to feel off. They commit suicide or harm themselves or do bad things. But when they're on their medications and getting what they need, they feel better and they become functioning members of society who pay taxes.
Yeah. I'm going to have to say that because we still don't know enough about what's going on with transitioning and things like that, I'm going to have to agree with what Florida's doing.
So, okay. Huh?
And I know you thought you had me there, but
no. You always surprise me. But my thing, one of the reasons I love doing the show with you is even when you disagree, like it's generally for a good reason, and you're not mad and angry. It's okay. We're allowed to disagree. It's America.
It is okay to disagree. It's absolutely. Yeah. That's all, folks.
Right.
It's absolutely okay to disagree. It's what makes us. I've talked about this before. Is that most people on social media now are being trained, whether they believe it or not, to not be able to have a conversation with somebody. They're being taught now to immediately say it's my way or the highway, and that's just not right.
No. And they get mad about lies because they don't know how to communicate. People lie to them and they believe it.
Yeah, because it's easy to believe a lie instead of having to use your brain.
Yeah.
And that falls on both sides.
It does. And, I 100% agree with freedom of speech. So what I'm about to say is, by all means, do not take it as I'm bashing freedom of speech, because I'm not. But the problem is, you get people who are in charge in news sites and everything else who will go out and say stuff they know is a lie, but continue to say it over and over again because they want people to believe it. And if you're just looking something up on the internet and you lean way towards the left or lean way towards the right, you go to a website that's dedicated to that kind of stuff like Fox News or MSNBC, and you go to the one that's in your echo chamber, they're like, oh yeah, that's right. And you're like, well, that's a news site, it must be true. And it's not.
That's the problem now. We're trusting news sites more than what we're trusting our own opinion.
Well, and the thing is, at one point in the world, you could go to a news site and you could get the facts. You just can't do that anymore. And that's a big problem. Just like this whole thing this week with Trump, people want to start a civil war now because the FBI raided Trump's house. Trump did something he wasn't supposed to do. He didn't follow paperwork correctly, so he went to the house and got the classified documents out of his house because he wasn't allowed to have them because he didn't do the paperwork right. Okay.
I think people are always looking to start a civil war for anything now.
I'm like, okay, he didn't turn over the paperwork he was supposed to, so they went and got it because he wasn't allowed to have it. He was allowed to have it when he was the president. He's not the president anymore. He wasn't allowed to have it. They didn't go in there and destroy his house. It wasn't some witch hunt where they were looking for something. Like, they knew we had it. They're like, you can't have this no more. And that's it. That's all it was. No big thing. You
make him sound like a 3-year-old kid. Make him sound like a 3-year-old kid. You can't have this no more. Give it back.
Well, it's because it was top secret classified documents that he's no longer the president. He's not allowed to have anymore. That's it. And here's the thing. This is how I know I made him sound like a 3-year-old, but truth of the matter is, he hasn't been there for months. He's been living in Jersey because he has more than one place. So it's not like he's going through them every day going, mine, 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 mine. No, it was in a box or several boxes and in a safe, and he probably didn't even think about it because he's golfing with strippers, he's doing Trump stuff. And,
Trump stuff.
He doesn't care. I mean, we all know he don't read. It's not written in crayon. So, whatever. No, sorry, that was mean. I should be nicer. He actually was president, did a decent job.
Yeah, you're getting a little excited now.
But everybody's flipping out, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Trump made it a bigger deal himself than what it needed to be. The government that has documents, they can be put away where they're supposed to go, and it's over. It doesn't have to be a thing. But if you go to a left news website right now, oh my God, Trump's going to go to jail for the rest of his life because he had these papers. And if you go to Fox News, the other one, they're saying now defund the FBI and defund the Department of Justice because they're all criminals. And I'm like, this system actually worked exactly how it was supposed to at this point. There was a mistake made. They got a warrant issued by a federal judge, fixed said mistake. Now it's over. It was a National Archives presidential act. That place, they have a whole bunch of rules. And now everything's fine. It could all go away. But if you go to the left, Trump's going to jail for the rest of his life, and you go to Fox News, burn down the FBI. I'm like, y'all really like decaf, smoke some weed, do something.
All right. I want to talk about, because the great thing about this podcast that we do is it's not, we're not going over the same stuff. Well, to a degree we do, but we also talk about other things.
Yes.
I want to talk about Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
Man, it is phenomenal. I mean, I had heard so much about it. It is absolutely phenomenal.
So you're saying
I love it.
I need to watch Pickle Rick?
Yeah, and from what I understand, they got the idea to a degree from Back to the Future. So it's a grandpa named Rick, and the kid, his grandson, is named Morty, and he's a mad like scientist, and it's just it's so smart. I can't even describe it.
You see, you say it's smart, and I'm not saying it's not smart because I haven't seen it. But when you look at the stuff they're doing, like in short ads and what people are making a talk about, it doesn't look like it would be intelligent.
Oh, it is. It is very intelligent. It's on a whole nother level of thinking, to be honest with you.
Do I need to be drunk or high to watch this, or can I observe the intelligence?
I mean, it can just whatever works for you, whatever, potato.
You know what? With your endorsement, I might actually have to give it a shot.
With my endorsement.
That's right. I think it's on Hulu now, is it not?
Oh, it's on Hulu. I've been watching it. I'm in season 2 right now.
So what do they do? Do they time travel?
Yeah. So what it is he's a scientist, and I hope I'm saying this right. I can hear somebody right now. You're not saying it correctly. He's a scientist, and his grandson is kind of like a little pipsqueak. I guess he's in high school. The way they have him, they have a lot of sexually suggestive stuff on there too. But the way they set everything up, but they go to different dimensions. It's almost like Ren and Stimpy meets Back to the Future, to be honest. But that's a great way to put it.
I love Ren and Stimpy.
Stimpy.
No.
You eating?
Oh.
I'm sorry, Ren. Oh, Stimpy.
Wow. All right. I'm going to have to watch Rick and Morty. Do you know what else I noticed? Because I have Paramount Plus. They're making a new Beavis and Butthead movie.
Are they really?
They are. Because there was Beavis and Butthead Do America. I think this is like Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe or something. On Paramount Plus, they're doing a new Beavis and Butthead movie. I saw that. I went like, that's for like 5 people, and I'm 2 of them. I love the Beavis and Butthead show and the Beavis and Butthead Do America, but I can't defend it like you're defending it and talk about how intelligent it was, because it wasn't. It was so not intelligent. It was the dumbest show, the dumbest ideas, and they just made me laugh. Like, have you seen Beavis and Butthead Do America?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just fart jokes.
It was fart jokes, and then they go to the Hoover Dam, and he asks the tour guide, "Is this a goddamn?" I was like, oh my God. I died laughing for like I still laugh about it, and I'm 40 years old now. And they're doing another one. I can't even imagine what's going to be in this one. But they got Mike Judge back to do it. They got all the original people back. Mike Judge is a genius. He did Beavis and Butthead. He took that to King of the Hill. God, what other did he do? He's
Office Space.
Office, Daria, that show, which that actually was a pretty intelligent cartoon show. I'm so happy that he's getting a resurgence. All the shows are coming back. That and another great one that's being brought back is Futurama.
Well, it's funny you say Futurama because Rick and Morty is a little bit like Futurama, Ren and Stimpy, and Back to the Future.
That's. I'm gonna have to watch all of them now. More shows for me to watch. Great.
More shows. More shows for everyone.
I'm so far behind. Like I love comic books and superhero stuff, and like I can't even keep up with the CW. They have so many shows, and then they canceled Batgirl.
Oh, I never watched it.
Oh no, this is not a TV show. Warner Brothers got bought out by a new company, and they're redoing everything. And they literally already had this movie almost done, had spent $90 million on it. And they're like 2 or 3 weeks from being finished for it to be enough to be released. And they canceled it.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking forward to it. I'm a Batman fan, but I was looking forward to it because they had one of my favorite actors was going to play the bad guy. That's Brendan Fraser was going to play Firefly.
Oh, wow.
I was looking forward to seeing Brendan Fraser play Firefly because Firefly is a real interesting character in the comic book world, but you never see him in anything because he's not. It's not the Joker. It's not Penguin. It's a third or fourth tier bad guy. But he was always a real interesting story. I was looking forward to a movie about him. I didn't really care about Batgirl that much, but yeah, canceled. I'm like, how do you spend $90 million on something and cancel it?
Speaking of that, segue. What was the first power off? There we go. What was the first cartoon that you remember being attracted to as a female?
As a female?
Yeah, that was a female.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying now. April O'Neil.
What's that?
April O'Neil.
April, who was that?
That was the redheaded reporter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wore the yellow jumpsuit. Yep.
That was a cartoon?
It was a cartoon. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had a cartoon in the 80s. Nothing like the original comics. It was very positive. They ate pizza. It's what all the movies were based on. And yeah, April O'Neil was the reporter.
Mine was that chick in the red dress from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, yeah, Jessica Rabbit. See? I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles long before I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But yeah, Jessica Rabbit. Also, there's one commonality between those two.
What's that?
Both redheads.
You gotta love the redheads.
I'm saying the most popular female cartoon characters all seem to be redheads.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, my favorite Disney princess is Merida.
Now, okay, because I don't want to get it where we get the creepy alert on here.
Oh no, it ain't that creepy.
No, creepy, man. Speaking of TV shows, I got to tell you, give me your. I'm going to give you mine first because I'm like a little kid. I gotta say it. Give me. After I tell you mine, give me your top 3 to 5 TV shows series of all time. Are you ready?
I might need more time, but go ahead. You go first.
No, I'm going to go first. Number 1, tied for number 1, would be. There's a 3-way tie for me. It would be The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, and Game of Thrones. I've watched every episode probably at least 20 times.
Okay, that's good. So, see, here's where
dedication.
I run into a problem with this. It's hard for me to do all time because at different stages of my life, I've liked different things. Now,
Well, right now, how about now?
My number one, I give you my number one of all time, and it was just so awesome, and that was Firefly.
That had like a small cult following, didn't it?
It had a large cult following. It wasn't small. It was so popular they went ahead and made a movie, even though the show got canceled after 13 episodes. And the reason the show didn't work is because Fox is stupid. Have you watched Firefly at all?
I have not.
Okay, well, imagine an episodic series where every episode leads into the next episode. It's very important. Like, what happens directly crosses over, right? The first show was supposed to be a 2-hour special, and they aired it in the wrong order.
Oh, wow.
They aired episode like number 3 first, then episode 1, then episode 4, then like episode 2.
Wow.
So everybody was real confused. But if you watch it in actual order, it made sense. And so you've done lost most of the fan base at that point on TV. But definitely Firefly. The Batman animated series.
Okay.
They don't make cartoons like that, to where it's enough for a kid to be able to watch it, but so enough seriousness to where an adult can watch it, and if you, I couldn't figure out that riddle or whatever to keep you engaged. And then let's see, man, a number 3, that stuff. This was gonna sound really lame. Any reality show where people are working.
Any reality show where people are working?
Yeah,
like Undercover Bosses?
No, not like Undercover Boss, but like Deadliest Catch or Gold Rush.
I love Deadliest Catch. That's funny you said that, because mine would be Deadliest Catch, then season 1 through 5, Walking Dead.
Walking
Dead
Dead
would
was
be
good.
4 and 5.
Yeah.
Season 1 through 5, not the crap that's going on now.
Yeah. Like, I'm not a big reality TV person, but like, it started with Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, where he was getting there doing those real jobs, and then with the Deadliest Catch, and then Gold Rush, and then the one where they do gold underneath the ice. All where they're really actually working and doing these really hard, impossible jobs. I like watching, like, oh yeah, my job's not that bad.
You know what I love is how, speaking of like Mike Rowe, how they do narrating for the greatest week to a lot of people every year on TV, Shark Week.
Yeah.
As Step Brothers would say.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that they say all year long, folks, sharks are not looking to eat you. They think you're a seal, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to August and it's Shark Week, they want to do an entire week of making sharks look like the most ferocious thing ever created.
You know what? Sharks are the most ferocious thing ever created. But you know the great thing about
sharks?
What
I'm saying is, it's just hilarious.
Oh, it is.
That they talk about how they're not aggressive and blah, bull crap. They are very aggressive, and the number one aggressive of all of them is the bull shark.
Yeah. And they're the perfect killing machine.
They never sleep.
No.
They're like Nazis.
They're the perfect killing machine. That's why I don't get in the ocean. I'm just ocean bad. Like, I'll go out just a little bit, like get my feet in the waves, and I come back, I'm like, 'cause there's a shark there and it'll eat me. That or jellyfish.
That water, I'm sorry, but get 100-something degrees, you jump in the water and it's salt water. I'm sorry, that's just not a great time to me.
Depends on which ocean you're getting into. The salt levels are a little bit different. If you're on the Mexico side of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, that water's actually pretty nice. If you're on the other side, the water's it's horrible. It just depends where you're at. I have a saltwater pool. Love that pool.
Oh, really?
It like, you get in that pool, you can soak in that pool. You come out, your skin feels better. It's nice, but I control the amount of salt in there. It's not like the ocean where like you get a mouthful of water, you're like, oh, I'm going to dehydrate and die now. So it's levels, but you're right. I prefer clean water. I don't like swimming in creeks. I don't like swimming in
Clean
ponds.
water.
I don't like lakes. I want my water chlorinated, processed, and ran through a filter before I put my toe in it.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
just saying. Now, I
Well,
also
you
don't
won't
like
be going to
hiking.
Saginaw. You won't be going to Flint, Michigan anytime soon.
No, no. Well, I mean, lead water's processed, right? Just processed with lead. Sorry, that was mean. That was a horrible thing that happened. Did they ever fix that? Now I'm curious.
Not that I know of. I don't know.
That's crazy. 'Cause weren't we paying like millions of dollars a month shipping them bottled water out of our taxes because
Yeah.
of what the
Yeah,
governor
something
did?
like that. Yeah,
Did
something like that.
I read an article explaining why it actually happened, and I was like, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Apparently,
Oh, they changed up their entire system or something like that.
well, they started shipping water in from a closer place that was supposed to be cheaper, but it had a different acidity level, so it actually started to eat away the pipes, and that put lead into the water.
Mm.
So they saved, $50. That's an exaggeration. They saved $50, but cost themselves millions in having to reconstruct all the pipes. Aren't you glad you saved that $50?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, by the way, I'm ready to give you one of my stories. Maybe I'm I'm super busy tomorrow. I've got this and that going on, but that sounded like a real dick move there.
Right.
But no, I'm ready to tell you my story about me going from Chattanooga and moving last year to Austin, Texas, and the absolute craziness that was involved in that story. And my van burns to the ground.
We'll have to record that for the outrageous story show. That would be awesome.
And
So,
I have so many outrageous stories; it's ridiculous.
well, and guys, y'all will be able to catch that out on outrageous stories with the Angry Ninja and special guest Moonshine. That's going to be awesome.
And
I'm
this is
looking
the
forward to
part where you look at the camera and go, "Hey, how you doing?"
that. All right, you wanted to cover something else, and I was actually
Yeah,
looking into the lack of communication.
yeah. It seems to be almost. There's very few kids, the younger generations now, that you can even talk. They're just different. They're just so different now. They don't know how to interact with humans. They're on their damn phones all the time.
They're on their phones, and also the whole coronavirus thing didn't help at all.
No, it didn't. And that's another thing that would help with saying that the reason why that came out was how do you separate people? You take away what humans need the most, and that's physical attention, physical love, and hugging and holding each other.
Yeah, no.
And Waffle House.
The thing is, I agree with you on them not knowing how to communicate, but it's kind of different. Like they know how to communicate with each other because every person they want to communicate with is communicating the same way they are, but they don't know how to communicate with the older generation.
They're like little aliens now. I went to Outback Steakhouse yesterday, and I got me bloomin' onion. All right, and I got me a bloomin' onion, and the servers, the young girl servers now, they like you. I don't even know how to joke with them. I don't even know how to. They take everything so serious now.
Oh yeah, I don't tell my jokes in public anymore. It does not.
Well, I'm just talking about they don't even understand sarcasm. They're like,
No.
"What do you mean?"
Well, what you have to do is after you say anything, you have to say LOL. That way they know you're joking.
LOL. That's great. Hey, wow. LOL. LMAO. LMFAO. Oh, okay. Oh my God.
I forget where I was, but I was talking to a younger person, and we were actually having a semi-decent conversation, and then they literally just started saying alphabet at me. Like, TF, and I'm like, I'm 41. You have to use the words. And they're like, oh, and then they said
TMI.
it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done talking to you now. I'm going to go away.
Yeah. This is not going to work.
Because like, when they actually started saying the letters at me, I was like, yes, this is a problem. That's okay for texting. To me, it's not even okay to text because I'm old. And I was texting my niece. And literally, it was a string of like 15 letters together. And that meant something to her. I still don't know what it is. And that's a problem. Like, short abbreviations for like OMG or WTF or all that kind of stuff, I got that. It's 3 words and okay, but they have taken it to a whole nother. It's almost a whole new written language.
It's like gang signs.
Right? Except for gang signs, I almost understood because, they made a gun hand. I'm like, oh, they want to shoot somebody. I got that. That makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I never understood those.
Oh, didn't you work in corrections for a while?
Oh, yeah, I transport inmates. There's another one of my stories. I transported wide.
Yeah, I would. Oh, you've gone into crap land. Hold on. Are you there?
Yep.
Oh, there you are. Okay. You transported what? You cut off after transport.
Inmates nationwide.
Oh.
I would pick somebody up in like Greenville, South Carolina, and take them to Chicago.
Okay, yeah. I actually worked in a facility every day. I did that for 6 years. So I actually got exposed. I mean, you're transporting, they're cuffed, they're not moving. So you didn't get to see that a lot. But you actually, when you're working inside the facility, you actually learn. You either you learn to notice what the gang signs are, or you end up having problems on your cell block. So I
worked in facilities too. I mean, seriously, I joke around about this, but yeah, I go on Indeed now, and they're like, "You leave Indeed now. You don't come here no more. You take all the jobs." I don't know why I want to sound like a Chinese guy, but you don't come here no more. You leave. You go now.
You eat too much.
Yeah, you're not allowed on Indeed no more. You take too many jobs.
Whenever I put all my stuff in Indeed for my job history, they always want me to be a security guard somewhere. I'm like, I got out of security because I got tired of that.
Congratulations, you're a security guard.
Yeah, like no, really. I've moved on past that. I actually, to be honest with you, thoroughly enjoyed working corrections. I just got tired of living to be broke.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
I don't know what your corrections paid, but my bring home was $1,200 a month.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, I was making bi-weekly $1,200, something like that, every bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, yeah. If I was making $1,200 every 2 weeks, I probably would have been okay. I was making $1,200 a month. I was working state corrections in Kentucky. Wow. Yeah, it was ridiculous. If you didn't have overtime, you ate ramen noodles for a week. Or 2 weeks, or a year, or your whole life. It was pretty bad.
Well, speaking of eating, my friend, I hate to do this to you, but I am hungry.
Well, you be hungry. You go get something to eat, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We covered a lot of stuff today, and we actually agreed.
We covered a lot of stuff. Yes, we did. We did agree.
And I agree that I need to watch Rick and Morty. I might go do that right now while you're eating. All right, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And as always, it's Ninja and Moonshine. Moonshine, what do we say?
Go USA.
Go USA. Everybody have a good week. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's the Ask the Angry Ninja Show or the Middle of the Road podcast, whichever one it was. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed the Ask the Angry Ninja Show, go check out the Middle of the Road podcast with Moonshine and Ninja. And if you're enjoying Middle of the Road, go join the other show on the network, The Ask the Angry Ninja Show. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/worstjokes. If you want to reach out to us, you can hit us on Twitter at cman2342, or you can search for us on Facebook. Everything's under the Ask the Angry Ninja Show, and reach out to us. We'll answer your questions, talk to you. Heck, I'll even bring you on the show as a guest if you have a good story you want to tell. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day, morning, night, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Everybody have a good day. Bye.